A man's career can be destroyed by a single sentence. Christian Brose was the staff director of the Senate Armed Services Committee in 2018. He had access to the Pentagon's most classified secrets. He watched war simulations. He listened to generals' briefings. And one day, sitting in his office, looking at a classified document in his hand, his entire body began to tremble. The document read, Taiwan War Simulation. Result: the U.S. lost within the first 48 hours. That night when he got home, he told his wife, if China attacks Taiwan tomorrow, America will lose, and millions will die. And I know this, but I can't do anything about it. 2 years later, Brose resigned, and he wrote The Kill Chain. His purpose was singular. Wake up, America. Because the clock was ticking. When most of us think of military experts, we imagine retired generals, CIA agents. But Brose is different. He's not a soldier. He's a policy expert. But not just any expert. For 10 years, he worked at the very heart of American military strategy. Inside his career, 2011 to 2018, staff director of the Senate Armed Services Committee, John McCain's right hand. Access level, the Pentagon's most classified reports, war plans, intelligence briefings. Mission, analyze military threats so Congress can approve the defense budget. In other words, Brose was one of the few people who knew how powerful the American military was and how weak it had become. And what he saw terrified him. The shock moment. America will lose the next war. The year 2016. A meeting at the Pentagon. The room is filled with generals, intelligence officials, and civilian advisors. On the screen, a war simulation is playing. The scenario is simple. China attacks Taiwan. The U.S. intervenes. The result? Disaster. In the first hours, China's hypersonic missiles strike American aircraft carriers. U.S. air bases in Okinawa are destroyed. GPS systems collapse. American aircraft can't take off. Within 48 hours, the U.S. loses naval dominance in the Pacific. Brose realized in that meeting, this wasn't a simulation. This was a rehearsal for what would happen in a real war. And the most terrifying part? The Pentagon knew it. But they weren't doing anything about it. Because the problem wasn't just weapons. The problem was America had been dependent on the same style of warfare for 50 years. What is the kill chain? Why is it so critical? Brose's book title comes from a military term, kill chain. This is the fundamental principle of modern warfare. 1 sensor, detect the enemy, satellites, radars, drones. 2, decision, decide what to do, command center, AI. 3, shooter, attack the target, missiles, aircraft, ships. Whoever completes this chain fastest wins the war. During the Cold War, America dominated this chain. It saw before the Soviets, decided faster, struck more effectively. But now, China has reversed this chain with artificial intelligence, quantum computers, and hypersonic missiles. Now China can see America. America can't see China. China can decide in seconds. America takes hours. China can sink America's aircraft carriers. America can't find China's ships. Result: in the next war, America will fight as if blind. Brose's confession: I tried to stop this. I failed. In 2017, Brose presented a report to John McCain, chairman of the Senate committee. The report stated, if the Pentagon's budget continues to be spent on the same old weapon systems, in 10 years we'll be defenseless against China. McCain sent the report to the Department of Defense. The response: we've noted your concerns, but the budget has already been set. Brose describes that moment. That day I understood the system was protecting itself. The Pentagon was spending trillions on old weapons manufacturers because the lobbyists in Congress, the post-retirement jobs for generals, everything was tied to this system, and nobody wanted change. When McCain died, 2018, Brose lost his last hope, and he resigned. But he didn't give up. He wrote his book, because he thought, if the Pentagon won't listen, maybe the American people will. Now the question is, what would you do? Think about it. You're a policymaker. You have a classified report. The report says, America will lose the next war. But you can't reveal this, because disclosing classified information is a crime. Your career will be destroyed. The Pentagon will accuse you of creating panic. What would you do? Brose risked his career. He wrote his book, and now some call him a hero. Others call him a traitor. But here's the question. If he's right and America really will lose the next war, what will be the cost of not listening to him? The book's bombshell. The Pentagon is preparing for the wrong war. The most shocking claim in Brose's book, America is trying to win the Gulf War again, but China studied the Gulf War and figured out how to defeat it. 1991. Gulf War. The U.S. sent aircraft carriers to the Persian Gulf. F-16s destroyed Iraqi air defenses. Tanks advanced across the desert and surrounded Baghdad. Result, the U.S. won in 100 hours. 2030 Taiwan War, according to China's plan. The U.S. sends aircraft carriers to the Taiwan Strait. China sinks the ships with hypersonic missiles. U.S. air bases are destroyed by China's ballistic missiles. GPS and communication satellites are knocked out by China's anti-satellite weapons. Result, the U.S. loses in 48 hours. Brose's fear. What if nobody listens? When the book came out in 2020, the Pentagon remained silent. The Biden administration said they would take it into consideration, but took no concrete steps. In 2023, at a conference, Brose was asked, "Are you hopeless?" His answer, yes, because time is running out. China is building 20 new warships every year. America, 3. China has reached a 90% success rate in hypersonic missile tests. America is stuck at 50%, and the Pentagon is still trying to fight with 1990s technology. And then he added, but I haven't given up, because if I give up, who will warn them? End of chapter. But how did China become so powerful? This is where the real mystery begins. China was a poor country in the 2000s. Its military was filled with old Soviet technology. How did it surpass America in just 20 years? The answer, China watched America's wars. Gulf, Kosovo, Iraq, Afghanistan. In every war, they studied how America won. And then they built a military targeting America's weaknesses. But the details are much darker, because China didn't just make weapons. It stole America's own technology. From Silicon Valley, from the Pentagon, from MIT. In Chapter 2, you'll see, how did China steal American technology? Huawei, espionage, cyber attacks. What are hypersonic missiles, and why do they leave America defenseless? Swarm robots, China's secret weapon. A Taiwan war simulation. Hour by hour, how does America lose?